What is going on, everybody? Yours truly, Kevin on Earth from the Decentraland Report, here to give you the latest and final update. So thank you to everybody in the community who makes this possible. And together, we're trying to really solve one of the biggest problems the metaverse faces, and that is the high barrier for adoption. People say, why should this really matter to me? Especially those on laptops who get grainy visuals of what this experience looks like. And when they actually get a high-powered computer, they're often saying, this looks like a game. And when they get blockchain knowledge, they can typically be saying, this looks questionable. They avoid what is actually happening, which is a transformational societal shift. Are the people seeing this? We have low penetration and retention. You can see this from the Bjork, Soulja Boy, Ozzy, and many others who performed at the Metaverse Music Festival. A new Nielsen report, 32 million people attended music festivals each year in the US, with average costs being $200 to $600. So why aren't we able to get these people to attend and see these artists for free in the metaverse if they don't even have to travel or pay for these tickets? Ultimately, what people are seeing is misinformation. Many of my friends, I'm sure yours as well, asked, is this legit? If you even search Decentraland, you can see a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt from the top stories just Googling Decentraland. Ultimately, what we have is a community unlike any other, and we are truly at the capital of the creative economy. We see performances, networking, brands that are adopting this. People are having life experiences in Decentraland. Even myself, I got married and clicked yes, and that's what users are looking for. They're looking for people who they can trust, know where to be and how to be there. And creators in Decentraland are looking for ways to connect their experiences to metaverse explorers. So ultimately, how do we protect the voice of those creators in the news, in those journeys, from reporters who don't accurately represent metaverse culture? Well, simply put, building a decentralized news network to preserve our history. And that is the story of today, folks. Our vision is to preserve and share the history of Decentraland and the open metaverse. We're bridging 1 million users through the vicarious exploration alongside metaverse experts. When we started our creative journey, this began in Q1 2021, where we wanted to let the world see. We built a proof of concept. We saw our stats growing and invested over $38,000. Now remind, this is pre-Polygon as well. So a lot of those fees for sending out prizes were a lot more expensive back then as well. It's something I remember. In May 2021, so a significant, about 4 or 5 months later, we applied for a point of interest to validate that the community felt like this was important. We tested costs around the satisfaction around the regularly posted content. We got $500 to make 10 videos in 5 weeks to see if the community felt like this was worthwhile. We then moved forward and saw that yes, the community did see it worthwhile. They approved our grant to approve for 36 videos so we could continue making videos through the end of the year for the next 4 months. We also invested over $28,000 of our own money in addition to the $1,800 that was given to us from the DAO. When we moved forward, we said, what we really need to do is motivate other community experts to support our effort in preserving this history. We need 7 days a week coverage, and just Kevin on Earth alone cannot do this. So we requested $5,000 to create reporter jackets and wearable prizes for reporters who would be contributing to their weekly reports. And on different milestones, they would receive different prizes. At that point, it took us to realize that it was going to be very difficult and almost impossible to scale this if we didn't have an automated way to distribute those rewards in a trustless, transparent manner. So we applied for a grant, which was also pretty much unanimously 125 to 1 vote approved, to build out our renovated HQ, new station in Decentraland, and automate our rewards features. We spent over $60,000 of our own money, along with $120,000 of grant funding. This was also during a pretty bearish time in crypto. This is a little snapshot of the period that we were building in. So by the time we got out and this whole journey ended and the bear market had pretty much taken us to where we are now, we had spent over $126,000 of our own money and $127,300 in grants. This outcome for us, realize over 1,000 hours of streamed DCL explorations in the most nascent stages of our part in the metaverse. Over 250,000 views to date, and we've had a lot of positive mainstream news coverage, which in the metaverse and crypto Web3 is something to be applauded. We've been able to build out smart contract reward systems, which I'll demonstrate shortly. We have an active DAO. We've had tremendous partnerships, including work with MetaKey, Collect Online, and Enter DAO, as well as many others. And we've attended conferences and presented and been a voice for pioneering Web3 at Decentraland, Consensus, as well as Media Party in Buenos Aires. We've even been able to get press passes to conferences, which really shows how we've legitimized a decentralized news network in the eyes of mainstream communities. We then moved forward with our goal of our next step, which is to reach sustainability by reaching cash flow break even, by reaching a big enough audience. We wanted to bring 1 million creators into Decentraland with a $240,000 grant, which we also returned back 10% of what we make from our community back to the DAO to pay back all of our grants. It's something we already approved in our own DAO. This was, although approved by the majority of people, was not reaching the threshold. So we addressed the feedback and resolution. If you want to pause this, if this is a video afterwards, you can read through that. But we ended up creating another grant for $120,000, which we, although again did receive the majority approval, we did not get a majority of the approval of the voting power. So we didn't push forward with that. Instead, we reduced, and there's actually a typo here. This should say grant for $120,000. I'm seeing right here. So this was $120,000 on this grant. You can see on the right snapshot. And then we moved it downwards again in November. So this month, after a year and 11 months, we asked now for $60,000. Now keep in mind the total grants we would have gotten at this point is less than the maximum you can even apply. This would be less than $240,000. But we still got it denied, although we met the threshold of approval. In the final hours, we did get 3 votes which came in to deny and sort of made us step back and say we need to reevaluate how we're bringing this forward, because ultimately even reaching the VP threshold of approval by the community, it seems like the whales still felt like something else needed to be addressed outside of the other feedback which we had. Definitely a lot of heated debate, which I think played into this, which was the conclusion here, which is the DAO considering pausing and actually approving. These same 3 voters actually came through and approved this as well, over 10 million VP, to push this forward. What we're going to be focusing on moving next is supporting the DAO reform so that we can ensure that everybody feels like they have an equal opportunity towards creative empowerment here in the metaverse and in Decentraland. We're also going to continue to create educational videos. That's going to be our next step focus, creating educational videos around the report ecosystem. Third step, we're going to be focusing on, after we have all these educational content, once we have all of that organized, we're going to go back to our mission of making sure that we have 7 days a week of reporting across over 4 languages. A little hint there. Well, this is the news station that we built to be the home of our future. Here you can see our community page, powered by Expand. We partnered with an amazing platform called Expand that are also connected to a larger ecosystem of content creators. I think it's hugely powerful. We are one of the biggest communities on here, so we've been able to collaborate with them and build a lot. But one of the key things is this rewards feature. So people can come in here, they can filter and see news coverage, they can get request coverage for their events, and they can use the report token they earn by joining this community and engaging with us on Twitter or Discord to earn those report tokens and other rewards, to request coverage and even get billboard space in Decentraland. So a lot of these things have been built out with this grant. Use that report token to purchase NFTs. Okay, here you can see people can purchase using their report token, and this contract was audited by the lead developer of Decentraland. So shout out to Ignacio for auditing this. After he audited, of course, everything addressed, and that's public on his page where he shows all the audits he's provided. You can see our smart contract we have set up. I'm going to go ahead and show you some of the inner workings. So here you can see all of the different roles that can be gained by having different NFTs from the DCL community. So if you have projects from different DCL creators, if you have an ENS name, if you have a Dirty Degens or Hopeless Hodlers Decentraland Wearable, shout out everybody who knows about that, DCL name, MetaKey, BitBears Gang wearable, DCL land, all of these earn you different report tokens, which give you different amounts of say in our community. You can also get rewards by engaging with our DCL report Twitter page, as well as and we have different bot preventions in place, so you can get different rewards. But of course, we have different bot preventatives. So we're familiar, we've been in the place. So the biggest part of this and the issue we really wanted to solve is prevent people from botting and farming all of our rewards. We haven't had any issues with that to date because we have ways of preventing that. Whether it be thresholds that prevent us from allowing people, of course, even that can be broken, but even we can go ahead and approve individual disbursements. So if there is bad activity, you can see it's just as simple as that. I used to have to approve or give distribution to one person at a time, or even drop NFTs to one person at a time. And sometimes people didn't even know where those were coming from. And if they would send me NFTs, people would say, oh, but maybe you're selling those or holding those for yourself. So for here, there's no question about that. We can distribute these straight from our community smart contract. You can see all these NFTs people have donated to our community. And right here, you can see all the people who are in the community. And if people join the community and they don't collect if they, for instance, make a lot of accounts to get a lot of prizes every time I airdrop en masse to everybody, then they won't actually collect the next one until they accept the current prize they have. So people actually can't farm this, or at least it disincentivizes it because it makes it pretty, ineffective and overly time consuming, not worth it. We've found ways to disincentivize it, let's say. So it's as simple as that. I've now airdropped to 29 community members. They didn't have to drop their ETH address. They didn't have to be here. They didn't have to do anything other than being a part of this community. And that is an amazing thing. I can even drop extra prizes to our subscribers themselves. Now that I've already airdropped everybody, it says users are all on the list. But you get this. It's very amazing, very powerful. We can create roles for any new community, any new project that comes through, and we can reward them those report tokens, which they can not only use to purchase ad space, coverage, they can use it to vote in our DAO. They can actually use this to vote in our DAO. So we have our own decentralized autonomous organization. Let me get this out of the way so you can see it. Imagine watching Fox News and saying you can vote on or off different reporters on the news because you didn't feel like they were representing the community honestly, authentically. So if anybody has questions, you're going to see probably an abridged version of this then. Feel free to let me know. All right, y'all.